Internet trolls. What's your worst troll that made you feel terrible afterwards? When I was a freshman in high school, I used to visit this forum all the time. A debate forum more or less. I used to bash this guy who always started flame wars. The bashing was ruthless and finally the dude said he was going to kill himself and he wouldn't be on anymore. 3 or 4 days pass. No sign of him. A buddy of his gets on and says, "I hope you're happy." He goes on to say that the dude went through and killed himself because of how crappy his life was and that I couldn't even let him have the solace of chatting in the forum without crap posting. I don't think I'd ever been as sick to my stomach as I was then. It was just like my gut dropped out and the hair stood on the back of my neck. A friend I personally knew called me on my home phone at like 10 PM that night. He ended up waking up my house. We talked about what was posted and he felt awful because he usually joined me in wrecking this guy. A couple days pass. Guy still hasn't posted. His buddy still posts at odd intervals. I decide to Yahoo search the account name of the guy who killed himself. I don't know why I did it. I guess because I wanted to see if I could learn more about the guy I helped kill. I got a hit for a similar name on a different forum. I browse the forum reading all his posts. They are the same type of comments. Flame war type of crap. The only difference is that his name is slightly off. Then something dawns on me. The dude's posts are from yesterday. I create an account on the forum and ask what the heck was going on. Dude who had been dead posts saying that he did die that day. He ceremoniously killed off his old name and started a new one. I browsed back to the day he said he would kill himself and they actually had a whole thread about the death of that name and the rebirth of a new name. To this day I don't know if it's dumber to believe that a dude killed himself over the internet without proof, or to have a ceremony when you change an account user handle. What a dork. Back in the dorms my first year of college, I downloaded an extension called Nkidge onto my friend's laptop while he was in the bathroom. This extension changes every single picture in Google Chrome to a random picture of Nicolas Cage. So he's taking a long time in the bathroom, so I go into the extension files and edit the code. Pretty easy actually. I just replaced a few lines and lo and behold, every picture now changes to a naked black guy. So I just sit back and laugh with his roommates when he comes back from the bathroom and goes to Facebook only to see the same naked black guy anywhere you would expect to see a picture. Whoa, that's genius. I used to use a camera proxy, Manicam, that would allow you to broadcast whatever video you wanted to as your webcam video, and I would go on Chatroulette and Omegle and would play different clips of girls on webcam. The videos were nothing crazy, just long clips of girls typing and looking at the computer screen. Most of the people were dudes, and when they either figured out it wasn't real, or when they eventually asked to CT or whatever, I would play the specific scene from Two Girls One Cup. Right when the crap is coming out of the one girl's butthole into the cup, it comes out with such force that the girl almost loses her grip on the cup. I also edited the clip so that sound was loud as heck. I would invite a bunch of friends over and make a night of it. It was so funny. Of course some guys would be jerking off on camera, and I would let the clip play for a minute or two, and then play the poop clip, and watch them either suddenly freak out and grab the mouse or keyboard or just slowly stop masturbating. Sometimes, people would think it was a fake cam girl, and would ask me to wave, and I had a clip of a huge wave with a surfer on it, and put speed metal behind it. I knew the jig was up. Might as well go with for the laugh. I had a bunch of clever clips to play right after that, my favorite being a loop of Arnold spitting the pill out from Total Recall. One time I got a girl on the other end, and we chatted for 20 minutes, and she talked about being lonely and bored, and I commiserated with her. Then, right in the middle of her confessing her life story, I played the clip from Two Girls One Cup, and loaded a video of another webcam girl immediately afterwards. She was shocked. She doubted her reality, having talked to someone she assumed was a girl her age, opening up to her, and then realizing that she got duped. Good times. Or, I miss when Omegle was mostly real people and not 99% bots. When I first found the website, it said users online, 400. Crazy. I, too, used to be a beatard. I used to make prank calls with my friends. The usual put two Chinese takeouts together, or call Best Buy and ask for a chocolate chip microchip high school stuff. We'd also call McDonald's and tell them their credit card for their pizza order didn't go through. But one day, we were feeling really stupid, We looked up dude ranches in California, and we called one looking to buy based on specifications of the stallion's penis. Of course, we were pornographers looking for a horse for a bestiality flick. I went on for a solid 5 minutes about veneniness girth ratio, discolorations, average ejaculation volume, lasting time, things like that. After about 3 minutes, the woman on the other side of the line was obviously upset. Then, I started to go into the different P-stars available to us, so that we can most closely fit tightness to girth. After a minute of that, and us agreeing on Lisa Ann, she hung up on me. I called back saying that we can change the actress if it upset her, but her husband answered. He yelled at us, dared us to call back, and mentioned how upset and embarrassed we made his wife. I was pretty sure I could hear her crying in the background. A few friends and I raided a steamer midstream. Pink Sparkles. She had a donation bot that would reel off every donation message in the voice of Google Translate's bot. My friends and I made sure to prey off this. We copy pasted the word pancake hundreds of times. The donation bot read the word pancake, full volume for like 10 minutes. It got to the point where she started, fake, crying. I guess this doesn't answer your question, because I don't feel bad. At the pinnacle of online gaming in Halo 2, cheats, super jump, and stand-buying people were becoming huge. People didn't know a lot about it and Bungie hadn't fixed any of it yet, but people were desperate to win and not lose their levels, so they would do anything for a win. So in the pre-game lobby I told them all I'm a modder and I have this cheat that will get us all beneath the map and then we can just pick everyone off easily from below. Told them for it to work we all have to meet at X location, but I need to go get the essential weapons, power-ups, vehicle etc. first. So the entire team would get in a huddle behind the base while I went and retrieved the rocket launcher. As I returned to the group I told them all to look at the ground and press AXB whatever. Then I would shoot the whole team with my rocket launcher and we would start out -7 points. Usually I got booted, but sometimes before they kicked me I could convince them all that it didn't work, or I hit the wrong button code, whatever. Then I would do it a second time. Then I always got booted. Hahaha, either multiple people did this, or I was one of the chumps who did this too. When I was 14 or 15 I had just learned what batch files were. For those that don't know, it's like a text file that tells your command prompt what to do. I would make a batch file that would delete several important files requiring formatting of Windows, and I would disable the confirmation message. Then I would set the computer to shut down in 30 seconds and display a message like haha computers fricked you got PWN'd. So I would go into AOL chat rooms and pretend to be a girl. People would DM me asking me for pics. I sent the batch file which would show up as a super sketchy link LOL. I would tell them it's a slideshow and just click it P. The dumber ones would, and they would type angry things in all caps at me and go offline 30 seconds later. So much laughter. Haha computers fricked you got PWN'd. It's so juvenile that it's hilarious. A guy was going on about how he regularly blocked the road for several minutes while parallel parking and didn't care that people would beep etc to get him out the way. I made a quip that if he was that desperate to show how powerful he was his wife must treat him really badly. Someone else posted that his wife had left him 6 months before, taken the kids, all the cash etc, more careful now. Well, you weren't wrong. Back in beta for Arma 3 I played on the life servers a lot. The SEAL Team Sloth server was very popular and so I played there the most. Eventually I ended up joining the police force and becoming more well known to those who ran the force and moved up in rank relatively quickly. It just so happened that one day I was playing on happened to be 9/11. The admin of the server decided to set up a memorial. He spent a few hours making this elaborate memorial to 9/11 on this life server. He was bitching about how much time he spent on it and how people kept coming over to sneak a peek. Like most admins he was just kind of a dong. Eventually he got almost everyone on the server to the memorial for a short service. 50 people showed up including all of the police force. Something came over me and I knew exactly what I had to do. I went to the cop store in Cop Base that was completely empty and spent all my money I had saved on a helicopter. I flew the heli out and as soon as the service started and everyone was lined up perfectly for a photo I came diving in my heli shouting Allah Akbar over side chat. I flew into the memorial of various vehicles and objects that everyone was saluting near for the photo. The initial explosion triggered everything in the memorial to blow up, killing all the players. Everyone started raging and I was banned immediately. It was incredibly satisfying. I'd do it again. Jesus Christ, that's amazing. I was dealing with this smarmy internet tough guy about a decade ago. He was a former Marine. I know. There's no such thing as former Marines, who had grown to become a fat butt living on his youthful glory. He'd pick arguments and then throw around deeply personal insults and threats the second he started to lose the argument. This was a small message board with a close-knit community, so we knew a lot of personal details about each other. His real personality was basically that of an internet troll. He and I got into it after I criticized the New England Patriots. Or rather, I criticized his football team and he responded by acting like I'd just teabagged his grandma in front of him. He started insulting me. No big deal. Then he started insulting my child, a newborn baby. This shouldn't have been a big deal, but this guy was a real prick and I am and always will be a hothead. I started investigating him online and saw that he was a massive bully offline too. He was a big fan of some fantasy books and went to conventions a lot and had developed a reputation among the nerds for being a legitimately mean bully in person. So much so that there were blogs entries dedicated to talking about their experiences with him. So I decided to teach him a lesson. I doxed him, created multiple accounts and started sending him screenshots of his house on MapQuest, or whatever we used back in 2005. Some accounts merely said, "Nice house," others said, "See you soon," others were meant to be more creepy like, "I see you decided to wear the tighty whities today and you have a pretty wife." He raked out. Made this long ranting post that included pictures of him cuddling with his guns. Talked about how he now slept with his guns, went to the cops, etc. He claimed to know it was me, but had no proof, as I had created those accounts from a guest account on a CPU at the local county library. There was no way to trace me. I also signed him up for a bunch of gay magazines, and a few months after this he posted again on our board about how his wife was leaving him. My trolling made him start hitting the gym again, and at the gym he made a friend who introduced him to steroids, and his roid rages combined with the monthly arrival of gay mags was too much for his wife. I guess I should have read the title of this better, because while I went too far, this guy was such a piece of crap that I honestly didn't and still don't feel bad about it. Created those accounts from a guest account on a CPU. Please don't do that. Touching processors in any way is a bad idea. Anti-troll wankers in online and games, life, etc. When they start talking crap and call me gay or whatever, I just own it and start talking about how I wanna do gay things with them, and I just keep it up until they shut up and walk away, log off. It works every single time. The kind of person that is out there trolling cannot handle some guy telling them he wants to blow them and how sexy they are and etc etc. This works for prank callers, buttholes, etc. It always works. Seems like the kind of people to be a craphead to someone can't handle homosexual passes at them, especially when other people are in earshot. I spent over $100 in long distance charges calling into a Christian radio show in New York. I live in Western Canada. The host would be talking and the callers can be heard over them. I proceeded to play the Fresh Prince Bel-Air theme and also rickrolled everyone. I regret nothing. Felt kind of bad, because here are these people trying to preach the good word, and instead they got a bunch of basement lurkers playing YOOOOOO. This is a story all about how someone on a local county Facebook page asked why all these cops were headed to a certain part of town. I was one of the first to reply and said bus crash with several escaped inmates. I trolled the group often and didn't think much of it. Checked my phone at lunch. I turned off Facebook notifications, and apparently tons of parents were freaking out because there were 2 schools nearby and all these people were messaging me asking for more details. I felt kinda bad and hope no one actually left work to get their kids or anything. I once convinced my little cousin he was turning into a girl. I had some honey sticks and he sneaked and grabbed a pink one. After he ate it, I did my best worried, shocked, angry face and said, "Did you really steal that? Tell me the truth." That was hormones. You're going to turn into a girl now. All of my other cousin were there and played along greatly. My cousin didn't have a shirt on and his older brother walked up and squeezed his boob and said that it's growing and informed him of how angry their father will be. So he ran into the bathroom bawling and spent a good 3 minutes squeezing his chest and sobbing. Through laughter, we all pointed out his new feminine features. He even closed the bathroom door to make sure his dong wasn't shrinking. Finally, I said enough and told him we were joking. He locked himself in the room in anger and we all went to the dining room laughing about it all. Then his mom came home. I told her why we were all laughing and her exact words were, "Watch this." She made her way to his room and banged on his door. When he answered, she yelled at him, "How could you? Do you know what's going to happen now?" He just fell to the ground, literally started hyperventilating. That was enough. We all felt really bad and were worried about him. I gave him the rest of my honey sticks. Friends and I used to dong nose people on Justin TV. We'd screenshot them and put pictures of penis as their nose. There was an Asian girl one time that we did this to. We linked it in the chat and she clicked it and her face immediately went from happy to super worried. She started screaming, "That's not me. That's not me." So we told her it was all over the internet and she kept demanding we take it down. We told her if you Google her name it would show up on every site. Obviously it didn't. Just being mean jerks. She ended up bawling her eyes out. Everyone in her channel ended up spamming the link of her dong-nosed face. I felt kind of bad years later. Never knew someone would get so upset about a dong-nosing. Went to a very strict Christian school growing up. We had a computer class in 7th grade and this was back when Excel and Windows were fairly new. We had to make PowerPoint presentations and give them to the class showcasing how to insert pictures, effects, transitions, etc. I went into my buddy's PowerPoint when he was in the bathroom and changed all of his sound clips out to fart noises. He presented it to the class and my teacher flipped. She looked like Honey Boo Boo's mom. I got suspended, yes, suspended for 2 days for that, but it was hilarious. I went to a friend's house in college, and him and his roommates had been working on one of those massive 3,000-ish piece puzzles. This particular puzzle was of a great wizard holding a staff and a crystal ball. They finally completed it, and I decided it would be a great idea to steal the single piece dedicated to the wizard's eye. I took it out, without anyone noticing, and held onto it for a week, then returned a week later and put it back in without saying a word about it to anyone. Needless to say, I created a lot of disharmony in the house. These guys were legitimately arguing with each other over this stupid wizard's eye. What I thought was a pretty funny, harmless prank ended up getting these guys pretty pee at each other. LOL. More of an eye roll troll, but still pretty funny. A buddy of mine was talking to this chick where he worked at. He wasn't really the smoothest person with the ladies, kind of tongue-tied. She was a cashier and he stopped in one night to say hello. I happened to be riding along with him. He was on one side of her aisle talking to her. I was on the other. While she was talking and not looking my way, I grabbed her big lighter. I took it apart and adjusted the flame to every bit of a foot high, put the lighter back together and replaced it. Enter the part I did not really think of. She went into the bathroom later to sneak a smoke in. Mid-90s people could still smoke. Apparently she was one of those smokers who would cup the lighter in her hand while covering up her cig while lighting. Think lighting in the wind. She flicked that bic and the lighter blazed up and set her hair on fire. Her hairdo required a lot of hairspray and she went up like the Hindenburg. The next time I saw her, she had cut her hair short and was pee. She starts cussing me out, and I denied that crap. Deny. I felt bad about it, but was not about to own up to it. Even though this was not an internet troll, I still felt like an butthole. When I was younger, me and a couple of friends were at the library on the internet. Bill Gates had just given all the libraries in the US computers, so everybody was at the library getting on the internet. The day before, my friend had set up his Hotmail account, and he told his GF his email address. It was his turn on the computer, and he asked me what the address was to his email. I told him hotmail.com. He didn't catch it, but me and my other friends did, and we laughed our asses off as my friend frantically tried to exit out of that gay P website as fast as he could, while our laughing was making everyone look at our direction. I think he got nervous and just got up and left the library. Probably around 2004, I hacked into Nambla's email registry. By hacking, I really mean I tried out a bunch of common URL endings and something like index.html or similar brought me to the internal site directory. I downloaded the email registry file, which included names of people and their emails, and I posted it to 4chan. Was about 600 emails names. A few people were interested, and there was some talk about it won the Ike channels, but I didn't really keep up with it. This was before Chanology and the like. 4chan was much less interested in any moral causes, and much more interested in lulz at this point, so no idea if anything came out of it. I know that these are considered bad men by society at large, but I still later regretted it because it wasn't my place to determine if these men were deserving of being outed to their communities, losing their friends and families and jobs, and being harassed constantly by the internet. Some of them probably were, but some were probably just mentally ill and needed help. Will be buried, but whatever. I grew up in a busy, congested close-knit urban neighborhood. One morning at 7 AM construction guys started with the jackhammer. I looked out the window and saw these cocksuckers blatantly disobeying the no loud construction before 8:30 rule. I could see half the people on the street looking out their windows to see what was going on. So, I picked up my pump-action BB gun and shot the guy with the jackhammer in the butt. From across the street, 6 flights up. He immediately stopped, rubbed his butt, talked to another construction guy, and started yelling at my buddy's dad who happened to be in the window right above him. So while he was yelling, I shot jackhammer again, just so he knew it wasn't my buddy's dad the first time. That was enough. They packed their crap and left. But regret? Nope. I regret nothing. 4chan here. I called up a pastor on an internet talk show and told a story that was the intro to The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air with my own twist to it. Got to the end and beyond without him catching on. The thread was going wild. Had a link to the stream for a while but lost it on my old laptop. I ain't no troll, but once upon a time I was definitely one for a day. I used to play this MMORPG called Silk Road Online. Basically think old Chinese culture style with lots of creatures running about. When you hit the paltry level of 20, you could become a trader, thief, or hunter, or something like that. Thieves could steal from traders if their caravan was over a certain price, which was incredibly rare at such levels. Long story short, I convinced some guy and his wife that I could protect them as a hunter. Police force, if they took a really big caravan to a faraway city. My friends jumped them about 2 minutes from leaving the security of the town. I myself switched to a thief and took part in the looting. I felt so awful and guilty that I messaged them back and gave them back the equivalent of money lost, plus some other stuff. What a dong move. We used to go into the Christian Ike channels. Many of them have a bot that kickbans you for swearing, and also a Bible bot which reads passages from the Bible. So we'd go in and request a Bible verse with the word butt in it. I think there was a passage that read and Jesus had a young butt where butt means donkey. The anti-swear bot at that point would kickban the Bible bot. One night, I went over to my buddy's house. His parents were out of town, so he had a few people over. And his little brother had a few people over, and we were all enjoying some libations. Later on in the night, when everyone is feeling pretty toasty, the little brother and his friends decide to start prank calling some of their friends with an anonymous number. It's a stupid idea, but they weren't really all that bright. Anyways, I'm sitting at a table with the little brother and his friends, just listening to all the prank calls on speakerphone. Nothing noteworthy. At one point, they call this girl, let's just call her Mavis, whom they all know. As soon as Mavis picks up, they all go quiet. One of the little brother's friends leans over to me and says ask her if a hairdresser misses her. Seemed innocuous enough, so I grab the phone and ask her. There was a dead silence on the phone and in the room, which was broken by the girl beginning to weep, at which point someone grabs the phone from me and hangs up. As it turns out, Mavis has a medical condition where she can't grow any hair. Like any hair, including eyebrows and head hair. She wears a wig on a day-to-day basis. TLDR. Asked a girl who couldn't grow hair if a hairdresser misses her. Started a suicide thread on a very religious page and went a tad too far. Turns out Christians are very caring people and my joke did get taken very seriously. I convinced my younger brother that Master Balls and Pokemon were useless and I just liked collecting them. He traded it to me. He was being so nice and I was doing evil. Saw a 4chan raid thread. It was a link to some guy's Twitch. After about 30 minutes of making him and his friend who was with him scream at us, I managed to log onto his Twitch account. I splurted all kinds of words in the chat, got him to Skype me, held his account for ransom and then used his stream key to stream P. He was banned shortly after. A few days later he asked me on Skype why I did it. I felt so bad I couldn't reply. See, there's a point where trolling crosses over into bullying and ruining. If you are new to the channel, you can subscribe. I publish new videos every day. Until then, check another video. Bye for now.